Let's go.
Sexual shame is a visceral feeling. So it's in my body. It's not just in my cognition. I feel it down deep. Visceral feeling of humiliation and disgust toward one's own body and identity as a sexual being, and a belief of being abnormal, inferior, and unworthy. This feeling can be internalized, but it also manifests in interpersonal relationships. That's really where it starts, right? With the little one and their caregiver, right? Who's providing life for them, really. So interpersonal relationships having a negative impact on trust, communication, and physical and emotional intimacy. Sexual shame develops across the lifespan in interactions with interpersonal relationships, as I've just said, but then one's culture and society lays its messages down, right? So we sell things through exploitation. I'm going to make you feel bad about whatever, and you're going to want to go buy more of that whatever.
It's control. And this goes all the way back to the early church, right? Like you mentioned. Yeah. It's a mechanism of societal control.
Right. Power and control. It's patriarchy. It's how patriarchy works. So I'm power over, not power with. If I'm power with, I'm going to be struggling with all the democratic things that happen here.
I need to negotiate my power. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to negotiate my power.
No.
Right.
But it doesn't work for sustaining close human relationships. There is a study in Harvard that's 85 years old called the Happiness Study. And what keeps coming out in it is that people's happiness and longevity is directly tied to how close and safe their interpersonal relationships are. Right. So anyway, I'll just finish this off, but one's culture and society lays its piece on top and creates a subsequent critical self-appraisal. So an inner critic gets going and it's beating me up every day, all day, until I go to heal it, right? There is also a fear and uncertainty related to one's power or right to make decisions, including safety decisions related to sexual encounters, along with an internalized judgment towards one's own sexual desire. So what that means is Peggy Ornstein wrote 2 books about a decade ago. One was called Girls and Sex, one was called Boys and Sex. She interviewed current kiddos, 80 to 100 kids between 15 and 22, girls and then boys. In the girls one, she found out she was talking to these young women who felt confident and competent in so many areas of their life. But then when they got ready to go out, they would put down 3, 4, or 5 shots of hard liquor because they didn't know if they could keep themselves safe or if they had the right to. These were not religious kids. This was a spattering, a demographic spattering. And these kids were pointing out that we had a pervasive rape culture that had been cultivated by silence, shame, condemnation, all of this that makes me feel terrible about myself, and then power and control. What's my role in the power and control game, right? And it was widespread. Some kids, boys totally knew when they were being exploitive. But some were so naive, they didn't even know, because in 1980, we removed money for research in sexuality, and we removed the sex education we had in place since the mid-40s. We removed it, right? And so then what ends up happening is you have a dearth of actual information. 3 years later, we pass rules in bills and stuff in Congress to allow the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, to no longer really have any protections in place for the public. They don't have to follow journalistic rules, right? So we started what became most important in the US was that we made money for our stockholders, not that we paid attention to the impact. Okay. I still have a frying pan from when my parents got married in 1958. That still works. Okay. It was a different ethic. Okay. Now, however we get there doesn't matter as long as we make money for the stockholders. Fine
Yeah,
and good if we want to do that, but
it's
it's not
designed
sustainable.